Good morning, welcome back. You're watching Daybreak, and thanks for staying with us in the esteemed company of young Kenyans here talking about the State of the Nation addressed by the President yesterday. Meg Mushoki is the Deputy Convener, the Manifesto Yetu Coalition. Valentine Aswan is an industrial chemist. David Oango is a youth leader. Kip Korir Brian, the chairperson of the UDA Youth Congress. Steve Biko, youth activist and environmental researcher, and John Odhiambo, the coordinator of Wazalendo movement. Many thanks for staying with us, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, Valentine, I was on you. Talking of the synergy needed, as Dave has pointed out, but then there are also other underlying concerns that must be addressed. The head of state yesterday talked about economy and agriculture, education, energy, transport and logistics. The key areas, he said, will inform the paradigm shift from our current position as a country. But also other important matters cannot wait, is it? Especially when you talk about the state of human rights and our democratic credentials as a country, which cannot be ignored.
Okay, so yeah, when he's saying about the shift, his main example was the Asian tigers, like Singapore, Malaysia, and all that. Yeah, and yeah, I went to and realized that, yeah, Singapore have administered those implementations. And we see like the transport and logistics, the energy, and all that. But now the thing that is missing, that is of main concern that he needed to address was like the corruption and the governance, because Singapore, what they focused most on was mostly on the corruption. Because even if we have these implementations that we want to put place, but the giant in the room, which is corruption, is not being addressed, it's just going to be a walk in the, it won't succeed. It's just going to be a walk in the park. So apart from that, that's where the human rights come in. And yeah, I think the main giant that needs to be addressed is corruption and good governance, which is good leadership. Yeah.
And John, it's as she points out, it's a menace we cannot run away from, is it, given its perpetual impact on our economy, talking about corruption and laying out all this major plan, but minus also a significant talk on then how do we move forward to ensure that there is no leakage of public resources.
Okay, thank you. Before I come back to you, yes, allow me to add something. We as young people, we are very organized and we have a vision. For example, we as young people in Wazalendo movement, as the director of communication in Wazalendo, headed by our CEO, Oponyo Eugene, we have plans and initiative to put young people on toes. The other time, we saw young people on streets rioting, but this is not the right time now. We are telling young people to register as voters, and also, and again, we are educating them. And also, we are telling young people maybe they be part and parcel of the plan of the 15 million trees plant. Coming back to the measures that we should put on corruption. To me, if I was the president today, I could have, these people who have been caught on corruption are the people lagging us behind. For example, in county governments, there are a lot of funds that they get from the national government, but we can't account for them. You find that these people are now leaving even their jobs to go for political positions, because there are a lot of resources there that are going to be they are going to squander. To me, the way we were discussing, I just say this jokingly, it is proper and it is a great idea if you have been caught maybe corrupt in any position, you should be killed. You should be just hanged and be beaten around. And we should just...
Yes, voted no to that consensus.
Sometimes you are allowed to change your mind. You are allowed to change your mind. So long as you're saying the truth. So long as you're saying the truth. So, because to be sincere, Ayub, corruption has really lagged us behind as a country. Corruption has really lagged us behind as a country. You find these people, like most of them, the political class, they are really lagging us behind in terms of corruption. And if maybe we can do away with corruption as young people by putting the government on top and putting anybody on top, then we are heading to a right direction. And again, without forgetting, if we bring all these people, maybe if by the time Ayub is coming, maybe he wants to be the MP, you know, it is us, common wananchi, tunakupatia burden sana. We are burdening you because you have to pay, you have to bribe us to vote. And remember, there's always consequences. So to me, I feel that even the wananchi should just vote leaders without being bribed so that we can stop this corruption. It starts with you and me.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Let's keep going.
First of all, I will talk about how can we synergize the youths in our government. Remember
because your energies, I mean, and expertise, and there's an industrial chemist here. She's doing a massive movement on Manifesto Yetu. You are the youth leader of the ruling party, was the Lendo movement. He is an environmentalist, an expert by his own profession. I mean, you cannot be ignored, is it, in that next frontier?
I will say this. When this government came into power, we came with intervention of certain 5 pillars that we wanted to put intervention for this country. And that majorly was to revive the economy of this country. And what the young person will always talk about is the matters of job opportunities. And remember, William didn't get this country when there are job opportunities available for everyone. But now we had to put intervention in place. And that's why we came up, even job mobility, where the youths could be even travel abroad, whether skilled, semi-skilled, or skilled youths, to have job abroad. Those are the kind of issues that we came with it. In terms of economic intervention that we had, was matters of MSME, to empower the mamamboga, the boda from the local base of the economy, to ensure that they came up. That's why we came intervention with things like Nyota program, at the same time Hustler Fund. These were the things that were ensure that we put money on the young people, and that's by that circular of income in the economy, we can have more money and also inject to our income every day and provide for opportunities for the youth. In terms of education, we revived the education to make it affordable, in terms of bringing the new funding model. And that was specifically targeting for the youth to ensure that at the end of the day, they have these opportunities, they read in the army place, and to ensure that the education is in the surgence of good opportunities that they have in the skill developing and human capital. Again, when it comes to the synergy of youth, remember, we have invested in sport. When you go all over these over 10 counties, there are stadiums being built. And even we have an example here at Ngong Road, which is one of the biggest stadiums even in East Africa and part of the Africa, and also maybe part of the world. So these are things that we are coming up with. At the same time, we have intervention of creative economy. That's why Itumbi is there as head of special programs to ensure that even the creators in our society have something to put on table. So these are things that we are trying to synergize to ensure we give the youth opportunities. And this is where now the youth can be empowered, because there is nothing more important than job. Because it's only job that gives dignity to human life.
Yeah, and as you point that out, then how do we formalize all that? I mean, the struggle for taxation is real. The government needs revenues. We need to push the country forward. But if you look at, for example, the Bureau of Statistics report, all the job creations, more than 70%, 80% is in the informal sector. So how then do we move, as you build up on that, from the continuous informalization of our economy to the formal, where then you can have more people to tax and pull them into the tax bracket?
While we were talking about the bottom-up economic transformation agenda, it's a 3-pillar thing, where we have white-collar jobs, blue-collar, and then at the bottom, we have the lottery. People who gamble, whether to get out of their beds, go to town, maybe get something to put in their mouth, and come back home. We understood creating a white-collar job, it costed more than 3 million. Creating a blue-collar job, it costed more than 1.5 million. But creating a job in informal sector, it only costed around 150,000 to 300,000. And that's where the government came with all this model to ensure that we do interventions. We know that, very obvious, that the government don't have enough resources. So we need to do some prioritization. And that's why we prioritize on things like affordable housing,
Okay.
so that ensure that we create jobs for these young people. And again, when it comes to the terms of money and taxation, remember we have a foreign obligation to pay our debts. When we are collecting a surge of taxation where we collect 3.1 trillion in our revenue collection, remember like 1.5 trillion is going to pay our debts. So these are kind of intervention the government have to consider to have a foreign obligation and to ensure that we have something at the end of the day.
Asante. Yes, Steve.
Yeah, Mr. Ayub, I want to say something.
Please do so.
Yeah, before I proceed to what you have asked us about, there's a question that you posed to Mr. Dave, that how can youth synergize into all this system? And Dave said that that there has been, that the president is calling the youth, and once he has called the youth are not turning up to the calling. That is a lie. I can remember that in 2024 when there was the Gen Z's protest, there was the online X debate where the youth were to discuss the problems. And also the truth is, the youths have the brain. The same way also we have the millennials also assisting us. But once we have been called, we have been going to the platform, that during that time, there was the debate. After that, after the discussion, we saw the president on top of the car saying that he called us and we never turned up. Number two, they've also talked about the issue of us being leaderless. You can't be a leader, and once you have started showing up, you are being abducted, meaning that the government or the state is instilling fear into the young youth that are uprising. Dealing with corruption. The corruption starts from the executive. That is the reality. We have seen even the other time, just this week, the New York Times say that there is a hand of those who are going outside for their abroad jobs. Okay. There is how the government has a hand in how they are getting the insurance policy. So the corruption has to be, we have to start dealing with corruption from the head, where we have the executive. When I was talking about on the issue of subsidy of the fertilizers, we realized that there was corruption because the fake fertilizers were distributed to the farmers at the primary level. So we have to deal with the corruption first, and we have to ensure that we vote in leaders. Okay. A responsible citizen who wants to get any seat in Kenya must know where to start with. Okay. And corruption is what is still lagging us behind. Okay. And once we deal with it, Mr. Ayub, then I know that everything is going to settle. Okay.
Yeah. And Meg, he points out a leadership that Kenyans deserve. Is it appalling, for instance, when yesterday you guys, I'm sure, had seen MPs who had given the president standing ovation and signaling the two-term by how they had shown. But how then can a house that was impeached on June 25th by the public guarantee the president another term, yet he's subject to the ballot treatment by the public? There seems to be either an incapacitation of existing capacity on the part of parliament, or was it just for the moment politically for them to make that gesture?
Wow, that was a very disappointing moment to have members of parliament decide that when the president is doing the state of the nation, they want to show Kenyans that we disregard every single thing that young people highlighted to them, and it shows us that they have a short memory because they have forgotten what happened in 2024. These are the same people who we asked not to pass the finance bill, and they went ahead to pass it. So we are not really shocked. It is devastating, but we're not shocked as young people. And that is why as Manifesto Yetu, we have taken time to traverse all the counties of this country. We have made sure that we've met stakeholders from different fields, because we've realized that if we wait upon the legislators of this country to do that and put the frustrations of young people in an organized manner, in a structured manner, and documenting them, then we don't have anyone else we're looking up to. The young people of this country in that frustration have decided to come together and to see how we can create solutions, because there's no one, clearly you can tell that they're not for us. You can clearly tell that they're not reading the mood of the people on the ground. Because to say two-term when the president is addressing us, when he's not addressing the abductions, the disappearances, you know, the detention, the persecution of government critics, you know, when he says about the freedoms that he's also very keen to start infringing on, to bring acts and bills that are against the constitutional freedoms that have been highly fought against. You know, when he says about the sovereign fund, he does well, you know, but what is the process of implementation of that sovereign fund? You know, maybe we can register all the mineral wealth and document the wealth that we have as a country. This is just an idea. I hope he's listening. And we can have at least maybe 50% of the wealth that comes from that then put into the sovereign wealth fund. It is a good thing when the president gives us promises, but then how is he planning to implement them? Because that lacks in most of his speeches. You know, there's a very vague way of how he's going to implement. But as young people, again, we've come, it was told that we just have agitations in the streets, but then we're not having leadership. We don't have structure. Now we have structure, we have the manifesto. We've gone into regions. We've gone into every single county through the regions. We went into Mandera, and we realized that they have been completely marginalized in terms of education. So when we say we have 700 billion in education, how is it getting to that person in Mandera? Why do the people of Mandera, the young people, have to leave Mandera to come to Nairobi, even the infrastructure of the road to just get them to Nairobi to even access that education? So are we being even equal in the distribution of these resources that we mention publicly, but are not getting to the young people? So I think that is my stand.
Okay. And Valentine, how much industrialization and how fast do we need it, in your view, to produce experts and focus on now job creation plus now innovation and having experts in different fields to then inform the energy needed for Kenya to be in the league of first world countries?
Okay, thank you. When he talks about research, science, innovation, I expected him to talk about the industrialization, infrastructure, because as young people, we are facing job opportunities, challenges. There's unemployment. So the easiest way to create employment is through industrialization. So I was surprised that he didn't mention anything about manufacturing, because when we look at like a country like Singapore, most of the developed countries, it's industrialization that has made them to get to where they are. So as a country, I think our main focus should be on industrialization, because that will fill the gap of unemployment. And also another thing also is SMEs. Like most young people, I know they have business ideas, but the problem is they don't have the mentorship, they don't have the networks, they don't have the funding to get to where they are. So you find, like, even not just in Kenya, but also in Africa, most of the innovators are always from Africa, and it's because they have an idea. But the problem is you'll find that when that person goes to the government and asks, okay, I have this idea, some are supported, some are not. It depends on whom do you know, you understand? So as the government, they need to really focus on industrialization and supporting these business ideas, because there is one who just wants to, there's one person who might just want 50,000 to maybe create to just open a shop, maybe a boutique. And there's another one who's innovative, has a business idea that can become a big company, and that, you know, you cannot employ one person, 10 people, you can employ thousands. So I think it's important for the government to focus on industrialization and also to bring in investors from outside, because investors, when they see taxes are high, they tend to withdraw. Because there was a time last year I had a certain idea and I looked for investors outside, and they were like, with the current state of the nation, we can't do it right now until the country settles down. And
generally expressing
stable.
fear.
Yeah.
About the state of stability. Also, it's a problem that should be addressed. Is it one, Dave, and also to the gentleman, the president was, in terms of his tone, very conserved about the state of the nation. Ideally, then, should that be the case where language here matters, and especially also on the opposition and for investors to gain that much needed confidence for serious investments to come the country's way?
Before I answer that, those MPs are also voters. And the same way, sometimes some shout 2 times is the same with some shout 1 time.
But they are only 416.
Though they should not do that because they're also elected.
Correct.
And the Kenyans expect them to deliver. On your question, the use of language and in connection to investors, I don't know what is wrong with our people. And just that is why, where I come from Kisumu. We don't want anything to do with demonstration, because that is what has always drove investors away from the county. You come, you open up a supermarket in the city. When people are demonstrating, they loot it. So you run away. And I think it happens even in Nairobi, in all these cities where there have been demonstrations. So it's connected to all these, our actions and our language, and on all these all the words that we use around, that people cannot see the importance of coming to invest there because they don't know what will happen the next minute. Yeah.
And Dave, is it also a concern that should be looked at in your view, because depiction of the leadership also informs that?
Yes.
So John, to you, sorry. So what then in the next world, as we envision, should be happening on the part of the leadership to exercise caution and be also very, very cautionary about how they speak and what they speak?
Okay, thank you, Ayub. Where we are heading as a nation, at least we are heading in a good direction, according to me, according to the things that are happening. But we should come up as a society, as a country, and maybe we support. If there is a bad thing that is happening, we condemn it overall. But if there is a good thing, we give it credit where it belongs. But because now I'm coming from a certain direction, I won't give credit to the good thing that is happening. That that mentality must come to an end through us. Like you find that maybe where we are right now, for example, according to the speech of the president, when some MPs chant 2 term, it is wrong, because chant 2 terms according to what they have seen that the president had delivered, it is wrong. But when some chant 1 term, it is right. We are not being fair. We are not being fair. We should come up and maybe say the truth and tell our people that you were elected as an MP. We want jobs. Take a bill to the parliament. At least every county in this nation must have an industry. By every county having an industry, we are going to fight what we call unemployment. And again, I think the president even saw that wise. That's why we are seeing affordable housing in all the 47 counties. I think the plan is to build them in all the 47 counties. Because maybe he has a vision seeing that maybe planning to build the industries in all the 47 counties. And again, to come back to you, we should come as a nation. We want a nation where John and Cape Coral can sit and maybe discuss something concerning on the growth of this nation, not divisive politics on matters of the language that I speak. I think we as young people, as young leaders coming up, we should now put the society on toes and maybe to fight all this through not allowing to engage the leaders who every now and again are telling us about the certain community. We should engage leaders who are there and are there for everybody. Thank you.
Okay. So, Cape Coral, how much will our institutions play a key role here? Because we have one of the best constitutional dispensation in the world, and which invests immense power in institutions that are constitutional. So how key are they with the next move, especially when we talk about corruption? Of course, we have mandated institution under the criminal justice system, but should there be also commensurate goodwill on the part of those who are in power?
Absolutely. There must be a goodwill on fighting these issues of corruption. We have seen the budget increase for judiciary and EACC in terms of to make sure that they have capacity and also to make sure they curb these issues of corruption. Again, as William came into power, he onboarded over 50,000 e-citizen services so that issues to do with the money getting to touch with the person cannot be endlessly to go to craft. Again, we have seen that even the county governors are really against the push of EGP, and that is something that is very worrying. While we are trying to make sure that we curb these issues of corruption and to make sure we streamline in terms of the issues of tender procurement, so that we can award people who are very meritocratically, people who have ideals, to ensure that the value and the money of the government go one-on-one with the purposely intended achievement. And this is an issue that William is trying. But again, the same governors that we, the people we are electing in our counties, are the same people that don't want this kind of streamline. So we are wondering, who is this mongrel, or this person is eating this money for the people? So these are things that we need to have a goodwill. If you are really intentional in terms of making this sure that by 2055, this country becomes the first world country, these are the issues that we need to agree. We have technology, and we do agree. If you can use the blockchain system, we are sure that the tendering system can be very streamlined and there was no corruption, no human touch, and we will be awarding the people who are best bidders in terms of the amount they are giving to the government. There's no need to sell me a pen for 300 shilling when I know very obvious that that pen costs 20 bob. So these are things that William is trying to push. But again, this institution like EACC, judiciary, we see a lot of jurispresa and the issues that are doing there, where people are going home without a verdict of their case. So these are the issues that we need to understand. Are we going to school to taught these lawyers that at the end of the day, you need to be a chin and cutter of the money so that you can prosper in this country? No, we want people who have deals. And in terms of amendment of those issues to do with the anti-graft policies, we need also to come to terms. And these are things that I want the young people to push each and every day, so that as a country we can move forward together and to ensure that we achieve a country that is based on values, ideals, and even we have our own identity, that we understand that even the investor from outside, when he came into this country, they understand really that this country has a value that they concern into it.
Yes, Maggie.
Yes, I'd like to just take a few seconds to respond to
yes,
Korir. In terms of technology, young people in Kenya are very much digitalized, and we can see in the case of Njeri, when she was trying to help us have a public participation digitalized. And I think before we even get into the deeper areas of technology, could we adapt as a government an institutionalized public participation that is also digitalized, so that as many people in this country can access public participation, so that we can tell the government these are the national interests that we want to prioritize as the people of Kenya, because sometimes maybe they don't understand because they are not engaging with people, and maybe we may not have resources to reach every corner of the country. But with digitizing of public participation, then it can be easier. And I think why we are lacking public trust in institutions, it's because the citizens don't feel like they have access to the institution, there's corruption and all that. So maybe public participation that is digitized can help a lot of people say to the government, this is what we'd like, these are our priorities. Maybe this is your priority, but then this is what we want as the people of Kenya. And then economic empowerment will lead us into economic sovereignty. Because as of now, we're borrowing up to 1.2 trillion yearly. That means we are really economically emancipated. So how can the government try to do that through industrialization? Because then that means if we have money to facilitate our education, we are a very wealthy country. And if we have those economic stability, then someone from outside will not come and say, we're giving you 1.2 or a certain amount of money, and then we're going to affect how your education system runs, because I think that is what we're currently facing in Kenya. When we have international actors interfering with our educational system, because we do not have economic sovereignty as a people. If we have funds that also dictate how we run as a nation, then we do not have the sovereignty as the people of Kenya. So I think maybe Korir can go back to the government and say, how can we, with the little that we have in terms of technology, how can we use that to improve governance? How can we use that to improve accountability, transparency? Let the people of Kenya go there and say, we want this accountability. If you say as a government, these are the figures, put it somewhere in a system, let people be able to access it. And we have young people who can help the government with that, because that will also create employment, because we want accountability as much as we want all those promises. Can we hold the government accountable? Where can we hold the government accountable? Sometimes this physical public participation is not enough. So, yeah.
Yes, Charles. Sorry, Steve.
Yeah.
And before my brother answer, I want to tell my sister that...
so hold on, Steve.
The digital literacy penetration in this country is just 29%. So the level of the cognizant that the youths understand the digital level of the space is just to use their smartphones. And so we need also to appreciate digital transformation in this country so that we can come to par at 100%.
Yes, Steve.
Yes, concerning the issue of industrialization, I'm very sure that is something that will make us to hit the target of being in the first world countries, or the first class world countries, the way I've said. And I think that number one, the state or the government should ensure that the foreign investors are given a very amicable space where they can invest, and also through that it is going to assist in ensuring that the rate of unemployment in Kenya is reduced to a given percentage. Another thing, in terms of technology and the digital space, it is driven from yesterday, the government, the president said that they are trying to increase to ensure that the fiber optics is decentralized, meaning that they are trying to extend the public Wi-Fi. And by that, I think that if it is not a lie, from where I sit, I know that it can assist, because we have the Ajira, we have these digital platforms, institutions that are assisting that the young youth, the Kenyans, can get into the digital space and do something through the use of technology. So by these two key issues, where we have the industrialization and also the issue of technology being rising up, I think that by those two sectors, they are going to assist us to also hit the target of the first world class.
So how much investment needs to go into those two components that you have mentioned, in your view? And are they given the necessary budget?
I think that the budget is not that well given to them, and that is also a problem. When it comes, I think that when it comes now to budget allocation for the next financial year, these sectors has to be seriously looked upon, because they are the sectors that are going to ensure that Kenya rises from where it is as the third world to the first world. But before that is done, we have to ensure that the leaders that we are making to be into power are accountable, and also they are also transparent when it comes to the issue of public resources distribution. There is also equity. That means that all the counties receive what they should be receiving because they are also paying tax.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because leadership is very key. Let me come to you, Valentine, and how very choosy should the Kenyan people be as in getting the leadership that we deserve? Because if you look at the conduct of Parliament, Parliament has lost the people. You had seen what happened in 2024, completely dead against what the public decried, the punitive tax proposals. Yesterday you had seen them. A house that ordinarily ought to be oversighting the executive ended up giving him a standing ovation for the obvious reason, for talking about the extension of the standard gauge railway, developments generally, which ideally as Kenyans, every part of this nation should have, because it's a right, not a privilege. So how will 2027 be different given what we had witnessed in 2024, this year in 2025, and also what we may witness in 2026?
Okay, thank you. So as a nation, we need to be very careful on the leaders we are supposed to elect, because we see like the results of the leaders we elected 2022 up till now. Like when we go to like our president, yes, he has a very good vision. We can see from his talk, he's very courageous about not just himself, but also the country of Kenya and his leadership. So we see like when we look at 2022 in the manifesto and right now, yes, there's some things that have been accomplished, but most of them, to be honest, they haven't yet, and we don't know where he's getting all that information, because on the ground, things are different, what people are experiencing. So we have to be very careful, because I remember like when I'll bring in the 2030 vision, when they implemented it back in 2008, their main focus was on citizens having a quality life. Yeah. The other focus was on good governance. The other focus was on industrialization. So him coming and saying that he wants to focus on these other aspects, I think at first we can go back to the 2030 vision and focus on those aspects, so that we can now say, let's now proceed to moving to the first world. Because Rome wasn't built in a day, so you can imagine him putting all this infrastructure. We have to build these dams, we have to create 10,000 megawatts, all roads and all that in a short span of period is going to be hectic for the country, and also the funding is going to kind of be hectic. So he really needs to focus on the implementation more. And so from that we can see that the next 2027, we need to be careful on the leaders we choose. Plus, he needs to have a strong leadership system and for implementation.
Okay, yes, Dave.
The leaders that we have currently is a depiction of who we are as a country. Because at some point we voted for them. We voted for the MCAs, for the MPs, for the senators, governors, and even the president. President William has an agenda for the country. Yesterday he told us where he has reached with what he told Kenyans during the campaigns. He has also put another one that he's asking Kenyans if they can support him, he can implement it. I wanted to talk about the Galana Kulalu irrigation project that we expect at the end of the year we're going to receive a very bumper harvest. And we know that currently, by 2022, the price of hunger was 250 2 kg. Currently, it's at 130. We are projecting that maybe by next year,
So you're talking about the average?
Yeah.
Because different brands...
around average 130.
Is that the case, Meg?
Yeah, different.
From your Mashinani meetings with the people?
From our Mashinani meetings with the people, it depends with the brand. And if you say that unga is at 150, how many people in Mashinani can afford that 150 because of the reality of the inflation rates? Do they have that money in their pockets? That's also something else. And I think as young people, we have really been on the ground, and we have seen how many young people are suffering at the grassroots levels. We are working with social justice centers, all the social justice centers. We are working with youth serving organizations. We were at NYS the day before yesterday. So that is not the mood in the country. Yes, the unga has gone down, but the citizen is not even realizing, because it's still expensive to them, because they do not have money in their pockets. They do not have employment. So how are they going to afford that unga, even if it's at 150?
Let him finish. I'll come to you. I'll come to you as well.
Number one, I think we are also from the ground. We are also from the ground. And my brother just spoke about, we have to accept where we are as a country, the way we accepted where we were 3 years ago. And now we are planning on where we should be in 5 or 10 years to come. The government has always come up with PPPs, but all the time, the negative energy towards PPPs has never seen a lot of things see the light of the day. And
for example,
the issue of the airport the other time.
Adani.
Yeah, the Adani.
But there was a breach of the procurement law, you know, Dave.
There was a breach of procurement, but people did not even want to listen to it. Yeah. But I was comparing it to the project in Galana, where it is a PPP project. Food is there. They're almost harvesting. We have seen that that is a small example of a PPP, and many others that Ruto is trying to bring in, where we can we have a public-private partnership on projects. Because at the end of the day, if you build one dam, you have created jobs. I don't know why people think that a job is only when you go to the office. Why do they demean someone who works, who has decided to work in an agricultural industry?
Or in a farm.
Or in a farm.
Why
would they demean someone who had decided to work in a farm, someone who has decided to work in an affordable housing project, someone who had decided to work on the road project? All these things, at the end of the day, these are taxpayers. At the end of the day, when they earn, they pay taxes. There will be circulation of money. So the president, I believe at some point, is always alone on some of these things, because the communication system that the government has never explains these things well to the people. And that is why I would support the issue of digitizing public participation. Because sometimes, again, I have attended public participations at the ground for the county governments, for the constituency, for the CDF. Young people don't come to those things. It's not that they're not around, they're around. Many of them don't come. The only time they want to get involved is when it has gone haywire. Maybe they have now realized this thing is affecting us in this way or in that way. So ours is to encourage our young people, our brothers and sisters, that we have to be part of the process, because we are in it. Number one, as taxpayers, and number one, as citizens of this country. Yeah.
Let's keep, I'll come to you, Meg. John, your hand is up. Yes, please, John. I'll come to you guys.
Okay, thank you. Allow me. Okay, I want to talk to Meg. Some dreams are born dead while some buried alive. Like that one, she's saying that maybe 150 shillings is still more to other people. Yes, it is true. But in 2022, unga was even 230. Compare it now, it is 130, 140, maybe, for example. But we have to be grateful We have to be grateful. Today, if even Wunga will cost 50 shillings, it will still be expensive to some people. You know, we cannot satisfy. Women wants are unlimited. They can't be satisfied. It is good for us as young people, maybe to give credit where it's due, than complaining every now and again. Even where now we are seeing improvement, you know. Even right now, you can't born a baby right now and you want a baby to walk immediately. You know, there is a process. There is a process. Let us give this government time and support it, so that these agendas can be achieved.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, Steve.
Yeah, I'm just wondering. What John is saying when he's telling us that we give the government time. 3 years down the line, we have given them time. When it will hit next year, August, I think it will just be 1 year to election. How much more time do you want? When Meg is saying here that in the ground, I think the ground is people back in the mashinani.
Yeah.
Yeah, when she's saying that the price of unga is at 150, that is true. But when you're now coming to tell us that, even if it is at 50 shillings, we are still going to complain. Let it get even up to 0 shillings, and then see if we will complain. What we are saying is this, my friends, is we need the cost of the living standards of Kenyans to be very fair, affordable. And also, I'm just wondering that why are we always using maize and the price of unga as a measuring yard of the living standard? Because you cannot just be feeding on unga on the maize alone, unless if it is porridge. If I'm not wrong, we have even the bar shop. Sometimes it is, as at now, it is at 254, 150. What about this one for wheat? So let us not just take only one item, and then you get that the state is really trying as much as possible that it is only that unga that they are only focusing on. What about when it comes to sugar? What about when it comes to tea, coffee, and even bread? Let us not cheat ourselves that we have to give the government time. Let the government make proper interventions on how the livelihood of Kenyans are going to be better. And if we have trusted you with 3 years, and it is only 2 years, even if you are doing your calculation and the balancing, as at now, the KK government could have already shown us the steps. But if you still need more time, up to when?
Can you respond, then I give you the time? Or you can respond. Go ahead. I'll come to you. So, or hang on. Yes, John.
Thank you. Yeah. My brother said that we should not only compare with unga. In 2022, before Ruto came in, how much was mbolea? How much was mbolea? Right now it is 2,500. You know, there is.
How effective is it?
Wait. We use mbolea maybe to get now the crops in the farm. My brother, sometimes it is good to say the truth. Like, we can't compare Kenya of 2022 and Kenya of 2025. There's improvement. There's improvement. That is the fact. We as young people, like, we need, like, some of us wants things that are, like, we want events, yet we cannot even be given we cannot even deliver.
Yeah.
Let us give this government time to perform. That is it.
Mm-hmm. For how long? Up to when?
Even up to 5 years, even 10 years.
Yes, keep going.
Let me try to ventilate some points here to my friends. Huh?
Yes.
Sometimes it's good to read the history. And if we check to Sessional Paper 10 of 1965 on African socialism and economic management, of Session Paper 1 of 1986. So it's very important to look at those papers and how it gives the trajectory of this country the way it's supposed to develop economically and even in terms of planning. But I also want to tell the young people that we must take responsibility on the issues that concern this country. Again, we must take interest on the institutions that are there ready to empower the youth, like the youth fund offices, like the Ministry of MSMEs, they have these provisions. Again, the Ministry of Youth Affairs, these are things that we need to take a keen interest. We read their policy statements, whatever that they have for the youth. In case we see something that is amiss or goes astray, we put our interventions, our views, so that we can help this country move forward in terms of the things that we want to incorporate, so as to reflect the desires and the vision of the young people. So as much as time as we have at the moment.
Yes, Dave, and then Michael.
I wanted to mention that you was talking just about unga. He has a problem with unga. The staple food in this country is ugali. But the government, in its doing, has decided to build, to construct and set up special economic zones, and also build the agricultural and industrial parks in almost every county. In these places, we are seeing, for example, there's one in Oma Bay and there's another one coming up in Migori, where the county government, in partnership with the national government, can now come up with crops that can do well in those areas. We are sure that in the long run, we will have a rich basket country, where we can now moderate the price of groundnut, the price of wheat, the price of unga. We have to farm these things. That's why the Rais was saying yesterday that we have to build these dams to help with irrigation, to produce food.
Thank you.
All these types of food, rather than importing food up to 500 billion every year. Thank you.
Yes, and yes, Meg, and then we sample the feedback. Yes, I'll come to you.
Okay, so there's a lot of issues to respond to, but I'd like to just re-emphasize to my fellow panelists and colleagues that we're not fighting government. We're not here to fight. We're here to just highlight some of those things that can help the government then act accordingly and realize this is what the people need and want. Because again, I'd like to just re-emphasize that the sovereignty of Kenyans is with the citizens. And that's why as young people, we are coming together to address these pertinent issues. We're putting them into a document that will give to the government and the stakeholders to just see what are these agitations and frustrations of young people that they'd like addressed. How are they wanting them addressed? What are the solutions they're offering? When we say about digitization, we already have someone like Njeri who came on board. Can the government already take that person and put them somewhere in the ministry to help with that public? So participation, we as young people are offering solutions. And that's why we said we're moving from the streets, we're structuring ourselves, we're producing a document that has all these things, and we can take it and say, government, we're trying to help each other as allies. We don't want our country to be like Sudan or Somalia, but how then can we do that in a structured manner? And that is what we're trying to do as Manifesto Yetu. Asante.
So let's sample the feedback and see what Kenyans are saying. The hashtag on X is Citizen Daybreak. The SMS code is 22422. Frank Orinde says, even as the president pushes for a new infrastructure fund, Kenyans are still grappling with punitive housing levy and struggling economy. And a growth they could feel in their pockets. Another fund means more deductions, yet the lived reality means unchanged. Okello says the president can't be faulted for delivering an address full of new promises, since that's the route he used to climb to power. Since all dreams are valid, we dare to dream that he will deliver on every pledge. Dueling of Rironi Mau Summit Road would be a masterstroke. Remy Butia says Ruto's address was bold reaffirmation of his administration's achievements and ambitious future plans. It underscored a realistic yet hopeful roadmap, balancing appreciation of progress with determination to address remaining obstacles. Washika Ken says Kenya Kwanza was just ambitious with their manifesto. Kenyans are not feeling development nor good government. All the president and his team do best is talk too much. Bob says the problem with President Ruto is that he has never run short of promises. Even in his State of the Nation address, on a scale of 1 to 10, I'll give him 4 to 10. 30 seconds each, starting with you.
Starting with me, yes, yeah, the government should listen to what the voices of the youth, the millennials and the citizen collectively. Let us be very responsible, and also let all the youth and all the citizens of Kenya register as voters Because for me, I know as Steve that there is no any time that should be given to the KK government.
Okay.
Come 2027, if you are defeated to deliver, please go home and relax. And I thank you.
Yes, Kipkore.
Thank you so much. I want to urge the youths to come and join the government to deliver this manifesto that we promised, and to ensure that at the end of the day, we have a country that is moving forward. And by 2055, we will have a first world country in Africa. And by God's grace, we are going to deliver through the UDA party. And also want to welcome the youth of this panel to the UDA party. We have structures, and we are able to have even digital innovations hubs in that party, and even an academy for the leadership. So welcome on, so that we can empower ourselves and become a civilized country that is based on ideologies.
Yes, John.
To honor Baba's legacy, we as Wazalendo movement, we are out and we are going to launch Baba's Forest, which through our leader, through our founder member, Oponyo Eugene, we are in all the counties, but the headquarter will be in Nairobi. We are calling all the partners and anybody, we are bringing everybody on board to come together and help us to make this dream true.
Thank you.
We are welcome all the panelists to join Wazalendo movement, because there is the way we are as young people.
Yes, Valentine.
I would like to urge all the youths to register as voters and also to take up the leadership positions. With all the ideas we have, let's come together and implement them and make a better Kenya, not just in Africa, but in the entire globe.
Yeah. Yes, Dave.
I want to urge the Kenyan people to be part of the process of developing this country. Support President William Ruto in his quest to make this country Singapore. Support each other. And again, to the young people, register as voters. The weapon that will be used on the ballot this time is a voter's card. Register as a voter, register as a, go and get your ID, and register for the SHA Social Health Authority program. Make sure you have insurance for your health.
Appreciate it. Yes, Meg.
Thank you, Ayub. Parting shot from Manifesto yetu is that we're telling the government that we're helping them to collect the views and the needs and the interests of the young people of Kenya, and we'll present it to them. And the youth of the country are really highlighting accountability, transparency, and a dignified future for them. Thank you.
Asante. Thanks, Meg. Thanks, Dave. Thanks, Valentine. Thanks, John. Thanks, Kipkore. And thanks to you too, Steve. Many thanks for your time. And thank you for waking up with us here on the broadcast. The hashtag on X, as ever, has been Citizen Daybreak. The SMS code 22422 at Citizen TV Kenya and at Ayub Abdulkadir. Thank you for your company. Always cherished, and good morning.